Farthest of the realms of the Imperium from Holy Terra is the Eastern Fringe. These regions of space are technically beyond the choir of the Holy Astronomicon, so only the greatest and most potent navigators can even tell where they are. These are the realms that caused the armies of Macarius to shy away, that no fewer than 3 chapters of Astartes were founded to warden, and that not even rogue traders could safely explore. Grand Master Hellbrecht of the Black Templars was one of very few men daring enough to try. He and Lord Commissar Yarrick had pursued the fleeing Orc warboss here after said warboss's abandonment of the war he had led on Armageddon, his second. Now, he and the redoubtable Commissar, joined by fully 500 Black Templars, 8 Grey Knights, including a Dread Knight, and 3 full-strength regiments of Imperial Guard, chased the Orc to here, the very edge of space. What a picture they must have made, Hellbrecht reflected. He in his Mark 7 Artificer armor, and a 5-foot 10-inch 200-year-old cyborg Commissar, standing aside one another on the bridge of the Eternal Crusader, his flagship. "Look, Master Hellbrecht," Yarrick said casually. "The edge of the world." Hellbrecht's perennial frown smoothed out a few degrees. "Indeed. Thraka can't run much farther than this." He turned to Yarrick and tilted his head back. "I must say, I'm impressed with you, Commissar. After your opposition to my refusal to ignore Thraka's rocks in the Second War for Armageddon, I didn't think you'd accompany me here." Yarrick was silent for nearly 30 seconds. When he spoke, it was with tightly controlled inflections. "Your refusal to help the civilians I was guarding grated, Master Hellbrecht. But I would give the hand Thraka didn't steal to kill him here." Hellbrecht returned his gaze to the front viewport. "Well put, Lord Commissar." The Vox speaker in Hellbrecht's neckpiece chimed. "Master Hellbrecht and Lord Commissar Yarrick, please report to Titan Bay immediately." Hellbrecht sighed and tapped the Vox. "What is the meaning of this? We are nearing orbit above the target world. Lord Commissar Yarrick and Master Hellbrecht to the Titan Bay, now!" Hellbrecht set his teeth, cutting the Vox channel. "There will be hell to pay for summoning me like this." "I'm curious and annoyed," Yarrick said dryly. "But more curious than annoyed. Shall we?" The two made their way down through the innumerable chambers and hallways of the Undying Crusade to the Titan Bay, where the single warhound assigned to the Templar detachment that hadn't stayed to finish cleaning off Armageddon was repaired, and where Hellbrecht had politely allowed Yarrick to park the Fortress of Arrogance. Hellbrecht marshaled his thoughts before passing through the Ceramite hatch. Before he could proclaim his displeasure with the one who had so rudely summoned him, he froze at a halt, mere inches into the room. Yarrick barely managed to avoid slamming into the back of him. "Hellbrecht? What's the matter? Why did you—" He trailed off as he craned his head back to take in the view before him. A monstrous beast, easily 15 meters tall, loomed over the small cluster of prostrate tech marines and engineers that were always scuttling around the bay. Upon sighting the pair of warriors, it raised one colossal claw in what looked like a wave.
"Oh, there you both are."
Hellbrecht found his voice.
"Foul entity of the warp! How did you get through the Geller field?"
"Geller fields keep out warp emanations and apparitions, Hellbrecht, not that which is divine."
The creature glanced over its scaly shoulder.
"Also, sorry for knocking over your Titan."
Indeed, the warhound was clearly splayed against one bulkhead, leaking something viscous.
"I'll hear no blasphemy, monster! I shall take off your head!"
Yarrick charged forward, across the nearly 100 meters of bare steel between the hatch and the monster, brandishing his killie claw.
"Oh, knock it off, Commissar,"
the thing said disdainfully, his voice echoing both from his massive maw and Yarrick's mind. The elderly Commissar skidded to a halt before even making a few meters in.
"What? I don't—"
"Meanwhile,"
the monster continued,
"you lads can get up now. Really, this is a little embarrassing."
We are completely unworthy of your presence, my lord god.
The most heavily modified tech marine intoned.
Come now. If I thought that, I'd have come in through the door and vented you all.
The huge thing said warily, pointing one colossal leg at the exterior drop shuttle door.
I came in through the hard way because I didn't think you needed to die. Now get up when told.
As you will, blessed Omnissiah.
One of the engineers said, scrambling to his augmetic feet and dusting his white and red robe off.
Okay. Now, Hellbrecht, Yarrick, I called you here because I need your help and authority to convince the Astartes and Commissaria that I... What are you doing?
Hellbrecht had taken a few shaky steps forward, his hands visibly shaking through his power armor, his face glowing red as a dying star.
Hear this, foul demon,
He managed to snarl.
I will send you back to your masters myself.
He lifted his stormbolter and charged forward, firing wildly.
How dare you!
The beast roared, so loud that the assembled tech marines and engineers toppled over, clasping their ears, if they still had them. Some didn't and threw themselves in the path of the bolts. They needn't have bothered. Without even moving, the bolts seemed to freeze in midair, and both Yarrick and Hellbrecht found themselves hanging in midair, dangling as if from invisible puppet strings. The beast let the bolts drop to the floor, where they harmlessly detonated. It took 4 bounding leaps forward until its beady purple eyes were leveled with the 2 old warriors, only a few feet away, hanging in midair, completely immobile. The creature went totally silent, save its psychic voice, echoing in their minds, greater and more terrifying for the volume it lacked.
Hear me, warriors of my Imperium. Though I am not in the form with which I last addressed the world, I am your Emperor.
Yarrick tried to fire his laser eye, only to find that he couldn't. It was as frozen as the rest of him. The monster's eyes met his, and he gasped in horror.
Your zeal does you credit until you forget your place. Do not forget your place.
Yarrick snarled and tried to move his killiclaw, but was as frozen as before. Hellbrecht was staring at the creature with an ashen face.
My lord god, it's really you.
Finally figured it out, did you?
Why are you in the form of a demon, my lord god?
Long story.
The monster, Emperor, thing, turned back to Yarrick.
You look unconvinced, Sebastian.
Yarrick gritted his teeth.
I have no reason to believe you.
Oh, for crying out loud. Fine. Watch.
With a loud clang, the doors to the void flew open. The tech priests and engineers gasped and tried to flee, but the air in the bay did not stir, as the void shield the Emperor projected kept it in place.
There's some kind of orc war boss down there, right? One you two morons hate?
More than anything in the galaxy,
Yarrick ground out.
What of it?
Behold!
No sooner had the word entered Yarrick's mind than the atmosphere of the world below seemed to twist and fly apart. Storm clouds huge enough to dwarf a continent appeared, and the polar ice caps vanished. Water tore across the surface of the world, so quickly that chunks of the crust were lifted in their wake. In a matter of 2 minutes, the world drowned.
See now the divine power I wield? Your lack of faith is irresponsible, Lord Commissar.
Yarrick stared at the violently twisting blue orb far below with unconcealed terror. The gate slammed shut again, and the tech priests and marines muttered amongst themselves in awe. When finally Yarrick managed words again, they were almost impossible to hear.
Forgive me, my lord god. Forgive me my weakness.
Naturally.
The Emperor replied tiredly, lowering both black-clad men to their feet. Hellbrecht immediately doubled over, trying not to be sick, while Yarrick sank to his knees.
I can only plead your mercy, most divine. Please.
Quit your belly aching, Sebastian. I'm angry at Hellbrecht for trying to shoot me than I am at you being a skeptic.
Hellbrecht shot upright with alarm,
Kidding. Anyway, I need you two crazy kids to go tell the Astartes and Commissarial forces back on Armageddon to finish off those orcs and gangers so we can go get some work done. I have to go see to one of my prodigal progeny before I can take my place at the head of the Armageddon army, though. So, get to it.
With a crack and a burst of purple haze, the Emperor was gone.